Okay, we will call to the meeting, call to order the April 2024 meeting of the Sycamore Township Zoning Commission. My name is Roger Friedman, Chairman. Mr. Meese, if you would take the roll.
Sure. Ms. Flanagan.
Here.
Mr. Friedman.
Present.
Mr. Roos here.
Okay, the first item that we have on the agenda for this evening is the approval of the minutes from the February the 12th, 2024 meeting. We do have a copy of the minutes for us. There was not a whole lot of activity at that meeting.
Yeah.
So
I'll make a motion.
to approve. Okay. Second, Mr. Mason, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the minutes are approved. No old business to take a look at. One new matter on the agenda for this evening. It is case number 2024-01 MA. The location is 5050 East Galbraith Road, the Sycamore Executive Center, and it's a major adjustment to a PUD, and I think it mainly involves signage on the building, correct?
That's correct.
So, Jeff, if you would like to give us an update.
Thank you. So this, the case only relates to signage on the East Galbraith side of the building. How this kind of development all came about in case 2003-17Z, the present site arrangement of the buildings A and B. So building A is here. That's not subject to this hearing. Building B was approved. As part of that approval, 2 wall signs were allowed on each building, essentially. In case 2019-15 MA, this 9.33 square foot Dreyer sign was approved. So that's currently on the building. According to the property owner, Myers White Cooper, a 4th tenant, which in this case would be Suite B, was recently added to the building. So in turn, a 4th wall sign is requested by the applicant when the new business is called Concierge Medicine of Cincinnati. The size of the wall, a 4th wall sign is proposed to be 25.66 square feet. So 2 feet tall by 12.83 feet long. Here's kind of a layout of the spaces. So space A is Dreyer. So their sign currently is 9.3 square feet. Kurtzman Plastic Surgery, their sign currently is 26.62 square feet, and that was approved in 2011. Suite B is currently vacant. Concierge Medicine of Cincinnati is proposed there, and it's the subject of tonight's sign case. And then Suite C, the largest tenant in terms of width, at about a little under 44 feet wide. Their wall signs, one of the smaller ones at 16.66 square feet. So here's Kurtzman. Their sign is 1.5 feet tall. The Kenwood Complete Dentistry, their sign is 10 inches tall. There's the spaces again. So with the current wall signs in mind, and in talking with the property owner, the thought was, if we're going to go through this case, perhaps we look at a kind of a master plan, for the wall signs of this case. Sign, you can see up here, sign A was approved in 2019. Sign A2 and then sign C were approved in 2009, 2011. We're here tonight for sign B, but what if something came up with signs, for A2 and C, how big could those be? And so kind of to talk about some of the rationale, Suite A is the Dreyer. That was again approved in 2019. That was a 14-foot tall by 8-foot wide sign. We would propose no change to that. Suites A2 and B are currently proposed by the applicant to be 24 feet tall by 13 feet. So I think this.
They're actually 24 inches.
All right. I said feet. I'm sorry. What's the best? That'd be a big feet. 24 inches, 2 feet by 13 feet. And that's similar to what's proposed with Concierge. So I did say 24 feet. Strike that. I meant inches, 2 feet. And then Suite C is proposed in this box here to be 24 inches tall and 17 feet wide, or 34 square feet. In terms of why the height, a max of 24 inches is proposed to encourage uniformity. I think that number was picked because 24 feet is the height of the proposed concierge wall sign.
Once again.
Or 24 inches. I keep saying feet. I apologize. It's the eclipse that got me. So this is kind of the proposed plan. So I'll kind of go through some analysis. At this location, the 4 tenants' front doors are on the East Galbraith elevation, so it makes sense that the signs are there. Given the 4th tenant at the site, it is understandable that the new tenant would propose a 4th wall sign. In discussion with the property owner, has been noted that this building will never have more than 4 tenants. If we're going to call this plan anything, the wall sign plan of 2024 or whatever is ultimately approved, it would provide certainty to future staff on the wall sign sizes, especially for tenants A2 and C, which haven't gone through a case necessarily. The proposed wall sign plan of 2024 with the max sizes listed for suites A, A2, B, and C are generally consistent with the sizing of the current signage, but an overall increase is proposed. Under the proposed plan, the max wall sign square footage would be a total of 95.3 square feet under the 100 square foot sign face limit as noted in Sycamore Township zoning resolution 13-11.3. But in comparison, if a 4th wall sign for concierge medicine, which is coming in at 25.66 square feet, were approved, but the plan that standardizes the wall signs wasn't approved, the total square footage would be 78.24 square feet. Just for comparison, if the max sign height of 18 inches was considered, then that kind of matches kind of the Kurtzman standard. Their sign is 18 inches tall. The total square footage of all 4 wall signs would be 73.8 square feet if you add them all together. And so with that, staff certainly recommends approval of the major adjustment to the PUD that would allow a 4th wall sign of a maximum of X square feet with the following conditions. I just put the line there of X square feet just to ensure that the board was comfortable with that. I lay out the different scenarios. If the board is comfortable with the 24-inch tall sign, 24-inch, not feet, inch tall sign, certainly that would be staff's recommendation. But I did note just the variance in height with that 18-inch standard and how that kind of inflicts it if it's 24 inches. I would also propose the following conditions, unless amended in this case, the conditions from case 2003-17, Z, and 2019-15 MA shall remain in full force and effect. 2, a comprehensive wall plan. A comprehensive wall sign plan shall be approved to provide max sizes and placement areas denoted by rectangles for the wall signs of suites A, A2, B, and C. Could be known as the wall sign plan of 2024. And 3, the wall sign plan of 2024 shall include the following conditions. The plan would only apply to building B. 3B, each tenant may only have 1 wall sign. 3C, all signs using the boxing method based on height to determine wall sign square footage. And 3D, the max size dimensions apply to the replacement of a wall sign or a new wall sign. So in other words, if the board approved the concierge sign of whatever size, and then in theory approved a proposed kind of general plan for the site, Kurtzman or Kenwood General Complete Dentistry wouldn't have to remove their signage to comply. But if they got new signage or if a new tenant came in, they would then comply with that plan.
Seems to me we might want to put that as a 4th condition, that current signs may remain, but if changes are undertaken, they must conform to the WSP for 2024.
That's essentially what we're trying to say in 3D. But if you want to make it more explicit, I'm happy to entertain them.
Yeah.
So with that, are there any questions?
So I'm curious, why is building A not renewables? Is it just the application?
Because they're 2 distinct buildings with 2 distinct sign package needs. Building B kind of operates, it's not a strip center where you have different retail, but it's a building where you have a linear building with each tenant with front entrances on East Galbraith. Currently, Legacy Counseling is is the only tenant in building A. And so they don't necessarily need to be included. In the future, if that building changed in some way and we start to go down this path, perhaps, but that's not considered here. Yep.
And second question, the photo that you have on the front page, that is to scale what 24-inch size sign up to that space.
Generally, yeah. So Kurtzman here is the K and the red box there is 18 inches. And if you did zoom in, it is, I mean, we're only talking about 6 inches here. So that A2 box and B box and C box is slightly larger than that. So it's, approximately. But for another image, this concierge medicine proposed sign is proposed at 24 inches. And that that's what the boxes are currently trying to.
And you're comfortable if everybody was at 24 inches, so this is shit. It doesn't look too crowded, space limits is provided.
I agree with that comment. Just if you look at the total square footage of all of the spaces, that half foot does make a difference. If it's 90, if 24 inches or 2 feet, it's 95.3 total square feet. If 18 inches, it's the 73.8. Ultimately, I think both packages would look reasonable and presentable, but there is an increase, and I just want to make the board aware.
Anything else? Okay, is anyone here for the applicant? If so, if you would step up to microphone, give us your name and affiliation.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Baumgarth. I'm with the Myers Cooper Company. We're the owner of the property. I have also with me Dr. Lisa Larkin, who is the operator of Concierge Medicine of Cincinnati. Just a little bit more explanation of what Mr. Ucotter explained. When this building was originally, can you go back to the floor plan? When this building was originally built, it was intended to have 3 tenants in it. And one of those tenants at the time was us, and we didn't require building signage for our business. So we didn't go through the effort of really designing a comprehensive sign plan at that time. Since then, the subsequent tenant in that space, what was our office, was Haran Medical, who was in Building A, and also didn't need signage for themselves because they already had a sign on Building A. So there hasn't really been a need for signage for Space B since then. And Space A has since been cut into two users. And we came back in 2019 asking for a sign for the space, what is Space A, which unfortunately there's not a whole lot of building frontage to put a sign up for them. So they've got a little sign, but it gives them representation. The hardship we created by doing that is now that we have a 4th tenant who needs building signage, they would be the only one without a building sign. And that's, like I said, a kind of a hardship for the tenant. This is, as Mr. Ucotter described, more of a quasi retail office, like a strip center, that each of the businesses kind of faces the front of the street, as opposed to Building A, which is a larger, multi-story interior lobby kind of a building, typical office building. This is more quasi retail office. So it's traditional for this type of business, this type of arrangement. Each of the tenants has some representation on the front of the building, very similar to what we did for Sycamore Phase 2, which is the second phase of this project that faces Kenwood Road. Each of those tenants has consistent building front signage. It's all non-illuminated, just the white plastic letters that fit on the front of the building. So they're all tasteful and fairly consistent in theme and sizing. And then just the other comment that Mr. Ucotter touched on, even with the 4 individual signs, the sizes we've proposed still would remain under the 100 square foot limitation that is in the township's code. So we felt it was a pretty reasonable evaluation of how we would put 4 signs on the property. Happy to answer any questions. Did I miss anything or?
Well, no. First of all, excited to have an office in Kenwood. So this will be the 3rd office. Oh, I'm Lisa Larkin. as he
You
said.
could just put your
Dr.
address for the record too, for the minutes.
3908 Miami Road is my practice in Marymount, and I have an office in Mason as well. This will be the third location for my practice. The signage is actually important. I think one of the things you might notice in terms of the size is that compared to Dr. Kurtzman's, we have more words and our logo is 2 levels. And so that's, I think, where we get the extra 6 inches. The other thing is compared to Dr. Kurtzman's space, we have almost double the space that he has. And so again, I mean, I would not love to have our signage smaller than what it is. Obviously, you have to agree to that, but I mean, I think our space is double the size of Kurtzman's. Also on the side facing that Jeff was just talking about on Kenwood Road, those logos are large. I mean, I think they're at least 24 inches. I mean, obviously it's a different building and you're not showing the signage for that building, but I know that Cincy Skin looks large when I drive by that as well. So again, I just don't know if there's consistency among the whole complex. I don't know what the sign thing for that is. So anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, just clarifying again that it's really the logo that is the largest part of the sign. If you actually measure the letters, they're slightly shorter than the logo is. And the same thing with Dr. Kurtzman's sign. It's his logo that's the largest part of his sign, and his letters are smaller. And that's fairly typical of businesses of this style. Their logos tend to be the larger part of their sign, and the letters are actually smaller. But the boxing configuration of, you know, just putting a rectangle around the whole thing is where you come up with that square footage. But it's actually technically a little smaller if you take into account the letter size.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone for comments or anyone care to make a motion?
But I was gonna say, personally, I have no problem with the 24 inch. I think being uniform is primarily the best point. You can keep everything uniform and makes it look better. So with that, you know, I mean, what do you mean?
I would,
Go
be
ahead.
ready to make a motion that we consider case number 2024-01 MA with the staff recommendation in the 3 conditions. In my motion, I would include that the first sentence would read, in part, would allow a 4th wall sign for Suite B with a maximum of 26 square feet with the following conditions, and then the 3 conditions that were noted by staff.
Second.
That, any further discussion? Before we do vote on it, I want to make one comment. Kenwood Complete Dentistry, my dentist. I have not discussed this with them in any way, shape, or form. I don't believe that prevents me from voting, but I just wanted that to be on the record in case someone made some scurrilous inference. Yeah. Anyway, with that said, maybe the vote.
Yes, sir. This one,
Aye.
Mr. Friend,
Aye.
Mr. Bruce. Aye. I will vote aye as well.
Okay.
This case, and just to make sure Kevin has it, the motion was,
Flanagan.
and the
And the
second
second
was
was
me.
Meese.
Okay, very good. The trustees will hear this on May 7th, at approximately 6:30, and we'll send out a confirmation email just to make sure the secretary is okay with that, but I think we're good for May 7th. It's a Tuesday. 6:30 probably, but I'll confirm them.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Okay. I don't believe we have any other new cases this evening. Jeff, do the trustees have anything they would talk to us about?
Nothing to report. There was the Shops of Kenwood case that everyone remembers from 2023, and they've implemented the landscaping. We're working through the dumpsters, the enclosure there, and some of the other stuff. So it's a slow, some of it's maintenance stuff, but it's kind of a slow grind. So that case that you guys worked on is progressing, and there's been,
GFS.
yeah. That's all I have.
Okay. Next meeting is Monday, May the 13th, 2024 at 6:05 PM. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Come on, do that.
Let's go. I have a motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
6:20 PM.